All right, welcome. Another episode of Stay Bulletproof with Tait Fletcher. And
that's the name of your show.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that going to be the name of your cafe that you open up in Santa Fe?
I don't know. I think not. I think we're just doing we might do something off butter because it's all about the butter. It's all about having a lot of butter in your life. Butter or bacon. So the coffee is all butter, and that's what I'm really into.
How is bacon good for you, man?
Bacon's awesome.
How is
all that protein and deliciousness, plus it just comes replete with gusto.
No, I know it tastes great. I love me some bacon. Western bacon cheeseburger with extra barbecue sauce.
I don't
Come
even
on,
know
man.
what that is.
Carl's Jr.
It doesn't sound like anything I would eat.
Well, you're talking about bacon, and then you're going to talk shit on Carl's Jr.? That's kind of, what is that, hypocrisy?
Hypocrisy.
Wait, no, seriously, though. You mentioned bacon.
I love bacon.
How is bacon good for you?
I want to be careful about what bacon I eat, and I also want to make sure that...
Farmer John's no good?
I want to be careful about the sugar that it's cured with.
Damn, so there's healthy bacon?
Yeah, there's
not turkey bacon.
There's different kinds
turkey
of
bacon.
I don't really go for that.
That's
I like
bullshit,
the
right?
real bacon. You know, it's
Is
kind
there
of like
real?
the
Is there
vegetarians
real?
when they do the stuff. You know, like fake them, or they do fucking sausages or whatever. They have some fake name for a regular meat, but they like the animals, so they're not eating the animals.
Yeah,
What
like
the
tofu.
fuck? How about you stop pretending? But they fake it like it's bacon or like it's
sausages.
Or like, you know what I mean? That was a dog treat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm here with Eddie Bravo, and he's fresh off a trip back from watching a match with a teammate and a beautiful man, Denny Prokopos, and Justin Rader, who's a man beast. And they did a huge super fight this weekend.
Yeah, it was. They went against each other today. It was an epic match. It went like, I think, 13 minutes. It was a 20-minute match, submission only, and Justin Rader is a fucking beast, man. He's a beast. Denny had him in a triangle, and that guy just broke that triangle open like the Incredible Hulk. Very few people get out of Denny's triangles, and he broke that shit.
He had it
apart.
locked down dead, like posture broke, like
anything that Denny threw at Justin broke that shit open. That guy is a fucking beast. And I'm not too sure exactly what kind of weight cut Justin did, but he wrestled in college, and he appeared to be at least 170 pounds, maybe 180 pounds. They weighed in the day before at 155, and Denny was walking at 158. And he felt really good about it. This whole time, Denny trained tremendous for it. His whole training camp. His training camp was amazing. It was amazing.
I saw he was with Jake Shields a bunch. He's with all those boys up there, Gilbert.
His training camp was perfect, man. He was on fire in his training camp. He came down to HQ for a while, a couple weeks, and man, he was on fire. We were at Jean-Jacques, and he looked great. He felt great. His cardio was awesome and everything, but. You know, the simple fact, and this is what I told Denny, this is really simple to me, in my opinion, based on everything I've seen in the 8 years I worked for the UFC, being backstage and at the weigh-ins and talking to these fighters and how they get prepared. From the time I commentated 15 shows with King of the Cage, I've been in the industry backstage at these events with the fighters for a long time, and based on the knowledge that I remembered, maybe I remembered it wrong, but as far as what I remember, anybody fighting at 45 walks around at 65. That's just the way it is. You fighting 45, Uriah, when he was fighting 45, he was walking at 63 to 65, and he decided to cut down to 35, another 10 pounds.
Right.
So that's what you're dealing with. And in the UFC, and I'm talking about the highest levels, if you're going to weigh in at 155 the day before your fight, man, you expect...
And the day before, that's hugely gracious.
Yeah.
Like, because like for the latest University MMA that just happened, that was day of. weigh-ins for all those amateur bouts.
Yeah, that's a weird one. It's not like IBJJF. You weigh in right before you compete.
Right.
Like you weigh in and then you compete like right there. I think that's the best way.
I weighed in with my gi on at the Worlds in Rio.
Yeah.
And it's like there's the scale. They call your name. There's the scale, and then you walk to the mat to shake hands with the guy and go.
That's
it's like the craziest.
The IBJJF has been accused of massive corruption, not from me. I mean, I can see it. I don't know about corruption money-wise. I just see just mad bias. They are arrogant about their bias against 10th Planet. It's a joke within them. It has to be, because nobody is like addressing it. They're not addressing it at all. They're not making public statements how they want to correct this and they want to improve their customer relations, and they're not ever talking about any of that kind of stuff. So I assume that it's probably a joke within them, and they laugh amongst themselves when they're biased against 10th Planet. I think it's funny to them, and they're not planning on changing anything. They're not. No. There's nothing in the works of them trying to fix their image. They're not interested in fixing their image. They don't care.
They have enough acolytes.
Yeah, they don't.
They're okay.
Yeah, they don't care about any of that.
No.
They're not. They're not even trying to fake it. Like they're listen. Our customer service is gonna be improved. We done this to improve it. We done that to. They don't care. They're just gonna keep taking the American money, and not give a shit. They're going to be biased against Americans, and that's not just coming from me. That's what they're known for.
And that's from when I started jiu-jitsu.
The Brazilians say they're corrupt.
Yeah.
So it's not just me. It's everybody. I heard this since I was a blue belt. The IBJJF is corrupt. It's not just me, and I'm sure it's not everybody, but they just don't give a fuck.
Those tournaments, you ever go? I mean, when you go down and it's like, well, who did you get your belt from? Like, on whether they're going to give you a coaching pass and this and that.
Yeah.
And it's like, if it's not one of their guys,
yeah, and
there's no action for you.
And they don't recognize you as a black belt unless you pay their money.
Right.
Their money. So I am, according to the IBJJF, I am not a real black belt.
Right.
I am not a recognized black belt. I'm not a legit black belt. It's like I have to pay them to be recognized as a black belt.
Yeah.
So am I going to pay them? Fuck no. Everything that it just seems that everything that they do and all the rule changes and all this, black belts have to pay to be recognized.
Well,
all that, it's just to protect the people that are really behind IBJJF, and the people. Look at the people who at the very top. Look at the associations they're with. They're trying to protect their association. It's super ultra biased.
Since the beginning, though, I mean, when you look at like a lawsuit happened against Renzo Gracie when he first opened his school in New York, because he was using the name Gracie Jiu Jitsu. Yeah. And like how hilarious that is. And then he won the lawsuit, but he was getting sued by his cousin because they wanted to own jiu-jitsu. It's like there's been from the outset, they want to own jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, there's always been massive infighting with the IBJJF. It's not the Americans like me, we're finally fed up with it. I'm done with that shit. I don't want to have to deal with that. They should try to be nice to their paying customers. They're being total douchebags to their paying customers. They're not trying to be nice to them. They are being douchebaggy to 10th Planet competitors that are paying them money. And they do it by not returning emails and making them give them the runaround, and mainly not returning emails. Like when we have questions, if it's from someone 10th Planet, they'll just ignore that shit. They do it, and we've tested them. We've been ignored before, and we've had someone else, a Brazilian, who's cool with us, send the exact same email.
Answer right away.
Answer right away. So we know it's bullshit. Right. So I'm not just talking out of my ass. Yeah. They go out of their way to fuck with 10th Planet. They hate us. So,
it's a trip, huh?
Yeah. So, they do have, the IBJJF has the most prestigious gi event. But gi events, to me, are boring. So they could have that. They don't have the most prestigious no-gi event. They don't. The IBJJF World is not the most prestigious no-gi event. Abu Dhabi is. ADCC is. That is way more prestigious.
And that's the OG. Yeah. That's the jump off there.
Yeah. At the no-gi Worlds, there are some top black belts, like Cobrino always competes, and there's a bunch of guys like that do, but there's a lot of guys that don't do the no-gi world. So over compared to Abu Dhabi's got everybody. Everybody wants to go to Abu Dhabi. No-gi worlds, no-gi worlds, it's like half of the Abu Dhabi guys, not 100%. It's like 50%. So although no-gi worlds is pretty prestigious, it's not the most prestigious. Abu Dhabi is. So, but anyways, enough for the IBJJF. What I'm talking about is, I was talking about a good part of IBJJF. A good part of them is they figured out how to eliminate weight cutting out of the sport, which is great. That's the best thing they've done. That was awesome. But that's a result of, it's kind of like when the government made it illegal to smoke indoors. You would think that, wow, that's the government really putting their foot down and trying to help us, but it wasn't that. It's the insurance companies lobbying. They go, we need, secondhand smoke is causing a lot of insurance claims in the hospital. People are getting sick from secondhand smoke and getting emphysema and cancer. It's costing the insurance companies gazillions. So that's why they put an end to it.
It's like when that happens.
The seatbelt law. It's a seatbelt law. You think that look at the government's really, because that's a great law.
It hurts me.
Yeah, but it is a great law. If you think it's like a good father law. And that it appears that the government is really caring about us, but really it's the insurance companies going, we need these motherfuckers to wear seatbelts, because if they're not, they're going to be mangled. And it's way more expensive to fix up a dude who wasn't wearing a seatbelt as opposed to dudes who are. Overall, in the long run, damn, it's way harder to deal with. You have no seatbelt, they're going to go through the windshield and get mangled up, and we're going to have to do some crazy surgery on them to save their life. And it's cheaper for us to force them to wear seatbelts.
And do you think that that's the same relation as like when high school wrestling, when they said you've got to fight the same weight every weekend? Like they outlawed weight cutting for high school kids. And they're like, we don't want the kids to go through this kind of traumatic physical thing. There's a big thing. And around that same time was when they started instituting the same day jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, but I think it's more, I don't think, this is my guess. Based on the track record that IBJJF has, my guess, and I like it. This, like I said, this is one of the great IBJJF rules. This is one of the greatest ones. One of the ballsiest goddamn moves. That's a ballsy move, dude. We're going to have you weigh in right at the edge of the mats. You're going to weigh in and then you're going to fight.
That's gnarly.
Dude, that is the most gangster. And they implemented that shit. They did it. And I like it. I like that rule.
And they gave you like 3.5 pounds for your gi or 5 pounds for your gi.
Yeah, they go, you know what they did?
We'll add that in. Cool.
To me, they didn't do that to protect anybody. They did to protect anybody's health. They did that to protect jiu-jitsu because too many wrestlers started coming in.
Smashing
and
jiu-jitsu.
Because they would stall people out. Like Americans were stalling out Brazilians. And they could do that because nobody is better at cutting weight than Americans. American wrestlers got that shit on lock.
The athleticism of the American wrestler versus a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah, because guys were coming in.
Just lazy stoners, relied on technique. They never had power and aggression to deal with.
And wrestlers were coming in and taking like the gold medal at Blue and stuff. That was a guy named Seth Woodall who wrestled at Bakersfield. And this was back in the day. He went and submitted 11 dudes in Brazil.
Crazy.
As a blue belt. So they said.
That's how Rico Rodriguez got.
The same thing. And he went down there. So wrestlers
won a gold medal.
Yeah, wrestlers were going down there and doing some damage. So they said, and I like this. We got to stop this because I don't like it. I don't like the fact that that kind of weight cutting that you need to do at the high levels, dude. That's too torturous. That's too torturous.
Count on it. Dudes are gonna weigh. If you're a wrestler, even an amateur or whatever, because they like that pain before they compete, they're gonna cut weight, and they understand the benefits of it and the detriments of not.
Yeah,
but
it sucks.
So as amateurs, if you run into a wrestler, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
if you're not and you're cutting weight, and if you're a pro, you count on them between 17 and 25 pounds. But some guys, 30 pounds. 35 pounds. Yeah. Those are not unheard of weight cuts. 35 pounds for a day before weight cut.
Yeah.
I mean, and dudes, savages, and then dudes
doing that. At the highest level, dudes, when the match counts, no matter who they're going against, no matter who your opponent is. This is what I witnessed, unless I was dreaming. What I witnessed is everybody, a large percentage, 90% plus, they're cutting as much weight as they can handle. They're taking it to the limit. Every guy taking it to the limit. There are a couple guys that didn't do it that way. Brandon Vera, BJ Penn, and then we had Frankie Edgar. Look where they're all at. They're all now. Brandon Vera's at 205. He's not fucking with that heavyweight shit no more. He realizes you can't afford to get overpowered. So he was forced to 205, which he should have been from day one. He learned that. BJ going to 170, that took balls of steel. But every time BJ went to 170, he got overpowered. He was just getting overpowered by GSP. He got overpowered by Fitch. He was in, and not only should he stay at 55, but should be at 45. Because if he's walking around at 63, 65, that means, because we've never seen BJ shredded like Sam Stout shredded. We've never seen that. So really, in reality, BJ should kill himself to get to 45, and then he would ragdoll people at 45. He would go back to his jiu-jitsu, and he would take everybody down at 45.
When he came back to the UFC?
Yeah.
And he came back, and it was fucking this huge announcement, and I don't know if it was MGM Grand or where it was. The place goes black. It's fucking, you just a dull roar, and then there's a light on him, and he's in a white T-shirt, and it says the champ is here. And fucking he come, and it was just deafening.
Yeah, nobody has bigger balls than BJ.
And then he's going, I'm going to take a belt at 55, then I'm going to take a belt at 70, then I'm going to fight at 85. Like, his goal was to take a belt at every weight class.
Yeah.
And I was like, I kind of believe him.
He's a Spartan.
Fuck, man, that guy is incredible. And his sense of belief, that sense of, is like, that's unparalleled. Him, Diego Sanchez, there's not a lot of guys that have that kind of belief.
Yeah, and the same thing. And then Diego Sanchez is another example. Yeah. He could have easily cut to 55 a long time ago, but stayed at 70 because he felt like, fuck it. But then what did he do? He had to go down to 55 because those guys at 70 were just too strong for him. And it's not even that, it appears that it isn't that big of a difference. It appears that Diego, why can't he hang with Josh Koscheck? But in reality, he just couldn't. Josh Koscheck just had a little more boost in him.
Well, and then they talk all that stuff, too. You hear guys talk about, like, oh, well, I mean, everybody talks about this dream fight about George St. Pierre and
Anderson
Silva. And I think how silly that is. Like, I don't want to watch a great big guy beat up a little guy.
Yeah.
Like, that's what that fight is. Like, and everybody's like, well, he'll walk at 195 and shit. I used to train with George, and he's never maybe seen 195 in his life. You know what I mean? He's a 175, 77, 80. Like, he's not huge. He's not a huge
George
guy.
St. Pierre?
Maybe he gets.
I thought he was 185, 190.
Not that big.
That's what I heard.
I've never seen him that big.
170. That's hard to believe because he looks gigantic.
But he's as big as he's going to get. And everybody's like, well, you give him time, give him 6 months, and he'll put on weight and he'll get bigger. And it's like, that's not utilizable weight. And so when you talk about like Diego and Koscheck too, I'm like, Koscheck's been using that weight and knowing how to wrestle for all that time. But guys that fluctuate in weight, like if George got and put on 20 pounds, it's only going to make him slower. His timing's going to be more messed up. It's not going to be helpful to him.
Yeah. So based on all that, we had the match today where Denny was walking at 58, and he cut to 55 the day before. And who knows what Justin Rader was doing, but early in the
for
match,
those that don't know, a super accomplished wrestler, a collegiate wrestler.
Yeah.
And those guys, like, nobody is in shape like the American wrestler, and nobody cuts weight like them.
I don't know what he did. I don't know if he got on IV bags. I'm assuming he, based on how strong he was in the match, based on that and how beastly he was and how big he looked, how much bigger he looked compared to Denny and stronger, his legs and his back, I'm assuming.
What was the comparison like that we know in the UFC?
I'm assuming that he had a professional weight cut. He went professional about it. I'm assuming. And if he did, that explains why he powered out of everything Denny threw at him. I mean, Denny had him in a triangle. Man, he had him in a triangle. I thought it was over. Because in the beginning, right in the beginning, it appeared, in my eyes, based on me observing fights and watching matches, this is what I was thinking. And again, I could be wrong. I was thinking, God damn it, that motherfucker's strong. Holy shit, Denny's going to have some trouble. This is a 20-minute match. In the first 2 minutes, I'm thinking, damn, holy shit, this guy's a beast.
And how did it start off? Denny pull guard?
I don't remember, but Denny didn't pull guard in the beginning. Denny wrestled a little bit on top. Denny wrestled in high school, and he was pretty good. So he was going to wrestle a little Greco-Roman on top for a while. And then I think he got taken down into the guard and immediately put him in the guard. And, man, he just stood up and just shook all of Denny's
What's as big as Denny walks at?
Denny could walk at 65.
Yeah.
He could walk at 65.
But that would be big for him.
Yeah, and if he got lazy and fat, Denny could be 70. Right. But when he's in shape, he's 58, 59. That means you can't compete over 45. So the problem was in that match, in my eyes, I just thought Justin Rader it looked like he was in a different weight class than Denny.
What did it look like as far as when you look at UFC and you're like, ooh, that dude's a lot big? Was it like a Gray Maynard versus Frankie Edgar?
It was more because he had a rash guard on, so you really couldn't see.
Right.
But based on what I can see in 3D, his back looked fucking. He's a powerhouse. Justin Rader is strong as fuck. Cobrinha throws all his best shit at Justin Rader, and none of it works. Cobrinha's throwing all this shit. Justin Rader just detangling himself. He's like putting himself into De La Hiva, putting himself into spiral, and then he detangles and just balances like he's doing an exercise to get out all this shit. And the way Cobrinha beats him is the way he beat him the last time at 2012 No-Gi Worlds. He was deflecting everything Cobrinha threw at him, but he likes doing from passing the guard. He likes doing a rolling flying guillotine or rolling kimuras, and he tried that. Cobrinha timed it perfectly and got on top of him, and he ended up on. It was like a sweep, but a sweep that Justin Rader started. Cobrinha capitalized on that little scramble, got on top, passed his guard, and took his back. But none of his guard stuff was working. If Cobrinha's guard isn't working against Justin Rader, holy shit, because Cobrinha's a super athlete.
And how good does your guard need to be?
He's so fucking strong, you know what I mean? So, we really didn't, with this match, we didn't pay attention too much to the impact of the weigh-in and the day before and all that. We should have.
Which is a huge part of the preparation for any battle.
Yeah, exactly. We overlooked
that part was
it, and a lot of that was a lot of it was my fault. I didn't really make a big deal out of it, but we learned from this. It should have been. If you're walking around at 58, Denny, if you can walk around at that, we'll do IBJJF. We'll weigh in and then you'll fight because you can make 55. You'll weigh in and then we'll fight. That's because then you'll have the ultimate advantage instead of doing 55, weighing in the day before. So you got to expect if your match is the day after your weigh-in, it can be as bad as your opponent looks like Gleason Tibau. It could be that bad. So expect that shit. If you're not planning on cutting massive weight, man, the competition is so stiff now. There's a reason why wrestlers are killing themselves to cut 20 pounds because it makes all the difference in the world. The competition level's so high, you don't want to get beasted.
What's the only guy I think that's operating at that level is Rashad, who can walk at 212 or something like that and is still fighting at 205.
He can make 85.
Easy, I would.
Hasn't he fought at 85?
I don't think he has.
Yeah.
But even Keith,
same
who's
thing
bigger
with,
than Rashad,
yeah, same thing with Dan. Same thing with Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson too.
Yep.
He'll fight 205.
And also Wanderlei Silva.
Yes, a select few are doing that, but generally 95% of all fighters are busting their ass to cut weight. And if we could do that match all over again today, I would have.
A day of weighing would be crazy.
Or if it's going to be a day before weigh-in, we make the weight 45 and really make. Because Justin Rader is so good at
45.
Dude, he's so good at weight cutting. He does Abu Dhabi at 45. You know what I mean? So he's a master at cutting weight. The guy's a beast, man. And I mean, at the New York Absolute, Denny and Justin Rader both competed in that 16-man tournament in New York about a year and a half ago, I think. Yeah, a year and a half ago.
I remember.
And Denny lost against Wilson Hayes. But Justin Rader went to the final, and he beasted everybody. He beasted all the Brazilians.
And I'm sorry, what weight was that?
That was 55. That was 55. And he Justin Rader beasted everybody to the final. And the one Brazilian he couldn't beast was a Brazilian that cut down from like 85. This was a big Brazilian. And Justin Rader was taking everybody down and out wrestling everybody and just picking them up and slamming, taking everybody down. We're like, how is anybody going to stop this Justin Rader guy? But then he ran into a Brazilian that cut a lot of weight and was tall and was bigger than him, and Justin Rader could not take him down. That dude was taking Justin Rader down. Big, and he won on a couple takedowns. He would pick him up and he would take Justin Rader down. Because Justin is short and strong as fuck. Right. He's like a little miniature Marcelo Garcia. He's that kind of strong. Super strong. I've never seen anybody shake Denny stuff off so easily, man. It was, and Denny hung in there. He had him in a goddamn triangle, dude. Yeah, he hung in there, and he wore Denny down. He couldn't tap Denny when Denny had gas. He wore him down and did a beautiful job, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to wear your guy down, and his passing looked great. Denny didn't want to play any lockdown in the match. I wanted him to go in there and try to electric chair this guy. That's what I would try first. Just go in there and see if he could stop that. If he could stop that, let's think about some other shit. But let's see if he could stop that. Go, make a beeline for that electric chair.
When was the first time the electric chair ever came up for you?
I remember that, but let me finish. Ask me that question again, but let me finish. Denny didn't want to do any lockdown stuff because he respected Justin Rader's Dar so much. Denny studied Justin Rader like a madman. He did everything right.
Dars comes up though the way.
But he got Darce. He got Darce, though. Right. His Darce is incredible.
You know what I mean? If your ear is close to the belly button, if you're up high on that underhook, I just don't see it there. I mean
you go through a little danger zone trying to get to perfect double underhooks where you're safe. You're walking through fire, but I would do it. I would always walk through the fire. I always put myself in the fire because I'm pretty good at feeling it coming. Yeah. And
you get body sensitive, and I mean, you can be almost flat on your back right before you go to perfect doubles. Yeah. You know what I mean? And be safe out of that danger zone. And so you get to choose the timing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he doesn't dictate the timing.
Yeah. But he didn't want to do that, so he ended up playing an open guard style. He was playing Z guard. And although Denny is very good at Z guard and he has a very good open game, he hits De La Riva. Well, Denny plays De La Riva and Spiral, and Denny is so into practicing all games and implementing and studying and everything. He studies everybody, and he knows so much. Denny is a genius at jiu-jitsu. But, Cobrina his forte is open guard. So you have to. That's his shit. Cobrina. That's his shit, and it didn't really work on Justin Rader that well. So Denny trying to go open guard and play Z guard. Put that shield in, and that's not what he's known for. He ended up getting his guard passed like 3 or 4 times. Because I think if we had to do this again, I would go no more of that. No more Z guard. I go, if we had to do it again, I go, man, we got to clamp down and force that quarter guard.
Especially that's where he's put the numbers in.
Yeah. Let's go in.
Most numbers are there.
I say next time, let's go in and try to get that lockdown and change the weigh-in situation for sure. You want the weigh-in situation to benefit you. Whatever is going to benefit you, man. You don't want it to benefit someone else. Because if a dude who's a master weight cutter is going against someone who is just walking around at that weight, man, they're going to really take advantage of that.
You're too happy too.
You're going to take advantage of that.
There's 3 pounds, you're too happy. You don't get gritty. There's something about when you get your body weight, your lean body mass down to a certain point. If you're down 7 or 6%. Like, you get a different kind of predator that comes alive inside your body. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I feel like guys need to earn that, like, in a way,
Yeah. And, I mean, on top of Justin being a phenomenal athlete and wrestler and a tremendous bass, some of the best bass I've ever seen. He has good chokes too, or great chokes. Yeah. His darts is sick as hell. His guillotine, he's very, very crazy. Dangerous.
He's so strong.
His transition to the truck, he's probably on the competitive scene, the top guys. Shit, he's probably the best. He's top 5 at transitioning into the truck. Very professional. Some of the best transitions to the truck I've ever seen from the standing underpass. It's fucking amazing. He's awesome. He's got some great shit. He keeps pumping that. He's gonna get one of these he's gonna keep competing. You know, I think he's gonna do MMA now. To tell you the truth, I think he might be stepping away from grappling and focusing on MMA. So we might see some killer twister stuff from him in MMA. But Denny, the one thing that you can never question is his heart, his work ethic, his ability to study film and stay 100% focused on it. He was so focused. Everything was right.
Studying himself, I think, too.
Yeah, everything is right. Everything Denny did was amazing. I mean, the only thing I would change is next time is we got to cut more weight. We got to change. I think for him, he at this point should do like a UFC fighter would do. At this point, these matches have a lot at stake. At the weight he's at the strength he's at, he should have day before weigh-ins at 45. That should be his number one rule. Nothing, no wavering from that. Day before weigh-ins.
I mean, he could even do the day of at 45. Really, you know what I mean? He could if he dieted and trained down, like that's what we did with Nate before Nate just fought.
Yeah,
and in the combat jiu-jitsu, he was heavy. He was 20 pounds over. But I was confident that he could get his diet down, and he'd already seen he's abs and ribs, and I was like, I just don't know where I'd lose it from. I'm like, you're fat, trust me, we can and I just made him believe, and he believed, and he got down. He was 2 pounds heavy on the day of.
It sucks though. There's so much torture involved.
There's so much discipline involved.
Discipline and torture. So that's a huge part of the reason I just decided to at 35. I'm like, I'm not gonna put myself through all this stress. I need to build some schools. I need to get my security. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's a different world.
That's huge. That's huge. I mean, thank God the match with Royler. Let's
talk about that.
It's at 160.
Man. How excited are you that fucking came? I mean, you said that months ago, but then it now just announced and revealed. And how crazy was it sitting on stage with him? And he was like, at the end of it, he's like, "You're going to be the bad guy." Like all that shit. Like what's going on there?
It was, before we did the press conference, I wanted to go up to him. And
had you spoken to him before then or no?
A couple times here and there, like once every 5 years I'll see him at a tournament or something like that. We both did guest commentary at the Professional Submission League, that Rico Ciparelli grappling tournament that was trying to be like, it was kind of being like Metamoris sort of. It was like the first Metamoris.
The one when like Jacare fought Randy and stuff like that?
Yes. I think it was that show. But they had a play-by-play guy commentating, and then they would have a rotating guest, like coming in for matches and stuff. And they had Royler, and I was next. And we sat at the table for a second. That was the first time we ever saw each other. Yeah. And then we shook hands, and we took a picture, and I put that picture in one of my books. I think it's in the Twister book. Uh-huh. But it's like that one picture that me and Royler took really quick. Our paths crossed, and the one thing he said, he goes, "Ooh, I want to choke you." And then he walked away. He wanted to choke me. It was cool. But before we did the press conference, I wanted him to know. We've never been like friends or anything. Like I want to just be his friend. Like I want to do this for jiu-jitsu and for 10th Planet and for everybody. You know, I'm not trying to do this to prove that I'm better than him or anything like that. You know, he could get me, I could get him.
Yep.
I'm just going to try my best, and he's going to try his best. But the cool thing, I just wanted him to know that I never, ever forget where it all came from. From my first book, Jiu-Jitsu Unleashed, if you look at my first book, that came out in 2005. It's a long fucking time ago. I'm not just saying this right now. This is not like a new attitude that just came up. My first book, there in the beginning of the book, I thank each Gracie, write some paragraphs about him. I wanted it to be very clear that I mean, I don't want to be looked at as a douchebag, and I don't want to be looked at as an idiot. And if I pretended that Helio and the Gracies aren't the reason that all this exists, MMA and all that, and UFC and Jiu Jitsu and my life, if I'm going to pretend it wasn't because of Helio, then I'm an idiot, and then people are going to think you got to.
It's just
give it
not
up.
authentic. It is what it is. Like
Yeah.
that's the spring that the water flew from.
And it's always been that way from my first book. And I try to tell people, and I wanted to tell Royler. I told him. Listen,
and you told
man,
him that day,
right before we met in the back after the show, press conference.
Yeah.
We're in the back, and I shook his hand. I wanted to shake his hand during the show, but he was on the other side, and it was kind of weird.
It's got to be important too, because there's so many fans, there's so many people on message boards that say all kinds of shit, and like, oh well, he thinks of himself as the Gracie killer, or as the this or the that, and it's like that's all just a bunch of dudes talking. Like that's not coming from anything that is disrespectful. You know what I mean?
There's people that just get into jiu-jitsu, very smart people, wealthy people, sharp people. They get into jiu-jitsu. They're in it for like 6 months, and they ask their instructor, what is this 10th Planet stuff, this Eddie Bravo guy?
Yeah.
It's so easy to make me look like a total jerk off. It's so easy because to someone who doesn't know, they can be really smart. All you got to say is, you wrestled in high school, right? He goes, yeah. You know, he took the wrestler's guillotine. He changed the fucking name, and he's pretending. He said it. And they're going, smart people go, are you kidding? How could he get away with it? He goes, look at this book. Isn't that Mastering the Twister? He calls it the Twister, and look, it's a fucking wrestler's guillotine. A real smart person would go, oh my God, what a fuck. And he's a drug addict, dude. He's all he does is talk about getting wasted. So to a really smart person who knows nothing, like, wow, this is the biggest douchebag.
Like Matt Fury that smokes pot.
Yeah, this is the biggest douchebag. So I got to dig myself out of tremendous
I'll tell you, I travel
holes.
a bunch just for work, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like I go to different jiu-jitsu gyms, other places, and every place I go, and there's a lot of Gracie gyms because it's like Kmart anymore. And I don't mean that as a disrespect to Gracie gyms, but it's like there's so many. There's blue belts that have gyms. It's like everywhere. And people want gyms. I mean, when I started jiu-jitsu, it's like there's very few, unless you're in Southern California or you're in Florida. You don't get to train jiu-jitsu really. But you get some wrestlers, get around. You can learn a Kimura, Americana, you know what I mean? But so anyway, like if you got jiu-jitsu in your town, awesome. But I get to go to a lot of these places, and all those guys, the high-level dudes, because all the young guys are like, ooh, Eddie Bravo, cool, rock and roll. You know what I mean? It's like the new guys are like that usually. And then dudes that are brown belts, purple belts, black belts, they're like, yeah, that stuff, rubber guard stuff, doesn't really work. And I'm like, you never heard of Nino Chambry, or you never heard of, like you never seen any of this work before. What do you know about it? They're like, well, I watch videos, and we've seen it. I've worked it out with my boy, and it's like, I just do this. And I'm like, show me. And then I'm on the mat. And then it's like, they can't move. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, so here we are in Chill Dog. Where are you going? You know, or here we are, you got a lockdown. Like, how do you pass my guard? And then they're swept, and then I choke them. And it happens every time. I went through, I don't know, 10, the last place I was at, I went through 10 guys, 3 black belts and a bunch of brown belts and a couple purple belts. And all of them said that system's junk. But it's like if you got a guy that's watching a video with you, and I'm a blue belt and you're a purple belt, and you're like, yeah, do this to me though. Oh, here's what I would do that. Well, if you suck and I suck, and we don't know any of the nuances of where to put pressure, this or that, of course it all breaks down. But I think that's a lot of it too, is that if you're not appraised of the system and you're not moving and having people show you and teach you in the right way, it is all lost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and nowadays it's, you know, can you imagine that there's guys out there that think that I took like a full Nelson? Can you imagine if I took the full Nelson and called it the spine smash and say I invented it and made a book about it? Can you imagine how ridiculous that would seem? Like, how many followers would I really have? Like 3? There'd be like 2, a cousin, and a retard. Nobody
my point
would
is
follow
the
that.
truth is getting shown. You know what I mean? It's like it's becoming more and more. I mean, we say that about Justin Rader and being a wrestler, but like that dude he's got badass jiu-jitsu snaps, and he comes from a good lineage guy. I mean, like Rafael Levat, like he's legit as they come.
Yeah.
But the average American wrestler, anybody else, runs into a little dude like Denny. Good luck. Like, you are smashed. You're going to feel like you're paralyzed inside that dude's guard. Like, you're not going to go anywhere. And like, that's the truth of it. And that's what's getting put out, I think, more than the other side. Do you feel that or no?
Ooh, it's hard to tell. It really is.
You're on the internet more
The
than
cool
me,
thing, though, this is the cool thing about, one of the coolest things about this rematch is that here I am this whole time trying to get a rematch with Royler, trying to get that glory again. It was just, I mean, he's a legend. There was nothing like that. It was like the hugest underdog ever. I was a brown belt, and the commentators, if you listen to the commentary in Portuguese, it was so biased. It was ridiculous. It was like the longest shot ever. It was a real life, but it was Buster Douglas.
And tell me up to that is like, Royler he'd not only never been beaten, but he'd never had a point scored on him in Abu Dhabi. Is that right?
Yeah, in that particular tournament, he had won 3 times, and the 3 times that he won, no one scored a point on him.
So the best, most elite grapplers, for those that don't know much about jiu-jitsu, of the world, like everywhere, Abu Dhabi used to be, you're only invited by the Sheikh, by Sheikh Tanhoun, to come and compete in this tournament. And it was the first paid like pro grappling tournament there was ever. And not only he'd never lost, he'd never had a point scored on him, which is it's crazy. I mean, there's maybe one other guy with jiu-jitsu lineage like that.
That's basically 12 matches in a row that he had.
It's crazy.
With no points. That was pretty crazy. So I was like the longest shot ever. So the fact that I even got paired up against him was huge in itself, because everybody back then wanted, all the young jiu-jitsu practitioners out there, the competitors from America, everybody wanted to go against Royler. He was the prince of 45.
And he was so good, they not only wanted to go against him, they wanted to go against him and lose to him. Like, they just wanted to go and say, well, I wrestled with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
that was good enough.
It was like,
that's how I was.
Crazy.
That's how I was. I was like,
but that's how good the guy was.
Like, I didn't.
That's how I mean, that's Royler Gracie is. He's touted, like, except for Hollis Gracie, who died in the skydiving. He was touted as like the number one as far as technique goes. The number one. I mean, he fought Sakuraba, who was way bigger than him.
Well, Hickson was always number one.
Right.
It was like Hickson, but Royler's the little Hickson.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So
anyway.
So
an astounding feat.
So anyways, I beat him, and that was a huge upset. So
not beat him,
I had
finished him.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh shit! Not only did I get lucky enough to face him, I actually submitted him, and that because I did that, I could get it again. I could do that again. You know what I mean? So that's why I wanted the rematch, to prove I wasn't lucky. I thought it would be great for jiu-jitsu. Like, when do you see like rematches in grappling where anytime you see a rematch, it's like within a tournament and they've gone together before as a brown belt,
right,
and it's within all these other matches going on.
Like
not like
fight.
Super fight, single fight, rematch. Here we go. We could do this. And
unlimited time or
and thank God it hasn't happened till now. Thank God. It's a blessing in disguise.
How long have you been wanting it to happen?
This whole time I had, like, why wouldn't I want another chance of greatness?
Before, right?
Yeah,
we were close before.
Yeah. There was some negotiations before, but all that shit fell apart. But now we're at the leading edge of jiu-jitsu right now with Metamorphs. We got Metamorphs, they're throwing down cash like the Fertitas did back in 2001. You know what I mean? So now this is jiu-jitsu's chance. We got our own Fertitas now. We're waiting for our own Fertitas. Now we got them. And Halleck is the Dana White. We could do this. So this is the third event, and it's perfect. It's the third event. We're headlining. We're rematching. The biggest. This is going to be probably the biggest grappling event in America, probably. I don't know. They're trying to go big with it. Trying to get it on TV. It looks like a TV deal's almost done. So a lot more people are going to be able to watch it. And it might be at a nice spot in LA. Big spot, so I can't really say. But they're trying to... Metamorphs is trying to go extra big with this, so this is perfect.
If they want to do it at my apartment, I got a pool in the back.
Nice after party. So
listen, you're backstage. Going back, we're like rewind. We started all our ramblings off.
So
you're back there, and you just wanted to give props to him.
before the press conference, I just wanted to let him know that I'm not trying to be a bad guy. I thanked him. I go, thank you for making this happen. Do you see what's going on? You see, this is you agreed, and thank you. This is going to be awesome for both of us. And he goes, no, thank you for making it. I'm like, dude, you're the one that agreed. I've wanted this whole time, so let's just have fun with it. I would be a moron if I started saying shit like, I'm going to beat him, I'm going to fucking go out there and choke him, and I'm just going to go right through him and just dominate him. Because obviously that's me trying to psych myself out, blowing smoke up my own ass. Anytime I hear someone say shit like that, I'm like, oh, you're trying that whole psychology thing. Like, oh, if you believe if you expect you're going to win, then you're going to win. I don't believe that. I don't believe that if you expect it, it's going to happen. I think it goes against it if you expect it. I think it reduces I think you should go in there and not expect shit. You should go in there and just try to do your best. That's it. To predict or expect you're going to win, man.
I feel like as an athlete, the biggest thing you can do is try to, we talk about this a lot with fighters of like different kinds, like MMA guys and grapplers, but like if you could show your best in like Keith always used to talk about this with me. He's like, I want one fight, man, where I'm as good as my best day of sparring in the gym was. You know what I mean? Because there's so few guys that get that, and so I think that speaks to what you're saying as far as I want to be able to perform at the utmost of my abilities what I know I can do.
Yeah.
And that's all I want that day.
Yeah.
And maybe he's better, maybe I'm better, maybe I get lucky, he gets lucky. One of those things is going to happen, one of those four things.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And other than that, a beautiful experience, and thank you for sharing. That's what I always felt ever since I started. The stick fights, everything was like, I just appreciate that opponent for coming here, because that experience doesn't happen without that opponent. You know what I mean? We got to have each other. We need each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, in my 43 years, I've learned that when you expect something good, when you expect something better, it's just telling the universe you don't have it. And that's what you get. You don't get it because you don't have it.
I feel like that I like the other thing that, I don't know, that you taught me really well is just as far as appreciate that you're healthy and that you can go out and compete. Appreciate appreciate the party that you're in right now.
And that's how I'm approaching this match.
It.
I'm approaching it. I'm going to train my ass off. Hell yeah, I want to win. If I could win twice, damn, that's going to be huge. Hell yeah, I have a chance to beat him twice. Are you kidding me? I'm going to go out there guns a-blazing. I'm going to train so that I could go out there guns a-blazing and hopefully I don't gas out, but I'm going to go after him. I want that. It's right there.
Do you have a date of the match
I want
yet?
that? They haven't nailed it down yet, but it's looking like September sometime. But it's going to be in L.A. But
how did he respond when you said all that?
He's a
little standoffish.
We were walking towards.
Is he not wanting to be your friend?
No, I don't think it's like that at all. I think he's being cool. I think I don't know about like being my friend or anything, but I think we went back and forth a couple times. Like afterwards, we even took some pictures and stuff, and we were cool. And he was cool on in the press conference. I mean, he was really cool. And this is one of the coolest things about this too. Is this whole time I've been trying to infuse into the jiu-jitsu system of the world some other ways to use your jiu-jitsu when there's no gi, when there's punches. That's always been one of my main focus, if not the main focus in jiu-jitsu, making it look beautiful in MMA. And there's a lot of people out there who think, man, the Gracies have been doing MMA before you were even born.
Right.
Well, you think you're going to be able to show them something new, or you think Helio hadn't figured it out already, or what do you actually think you can improve jiu-jitsu? Who the fuck do you think you are? There's a lot of people out there that think that jiu-jitsu is completely finished. It's not going to evolve. It's been perfected, and that's it.
That's so crazy.
And there's people that think that, and
it's such a scarcity idea.
Yeah, I disagree with them. And you know what? I focus so much on no-gi clinching jiu-jitsu that when you focus on something a lot, it turns into something different. Just like the Gracies, when they branched off from Japanese jiu-jitsu, they focused on the ground so much. All the techniques were the same. The techniques aren't even different, but they focused on the ground so much, like unlimited time on the ground. And in Japan, there wasn't that much of it. The Brazilians did way more of 100% on the ground than the Japanese. The Japanese, like a little bit on the ground, more with the throws. They were like phasing that shit up. I know they had Nuwaza and I know they had all that shit, but nobody was focusing on the ground more than the Brazilians. They were just taking judo and just forcing it on the ground longer, or letting it play out longer, and then after years it turns into something totally different. So that's what I did. I focused with jiu-jitsu without the gi only, and when you do it only without the gi, there's some new changes and some new paths and some new developments and some new growth. If you don't believe that, man, I don't know what to tell you, but it's the truth. And I've said this over and over, that I dropped the gi not to separate myself from jiu-jitsu. I dropped the gi to help jiu-jitsu and MMA, doing my part. And I know people think I'm delusional, think that how the hell can he think he's helping? We've come up with a lot of shit. Me and all my students, we've come up with a lot of shit. When you focus on just one thing, it spreads and it opens up. If all you did was focus on Americanas, for instance, if that's all you did, man, you take Americanas to whole new levels. You'll start setting them up from new little ways. You'll have your own little style of Americana. If you just got tunnel vision with it, that's the same thing. We didn't fuck with the gi. We fucked with no gi. And when you focus on it for 10 years, man, a lot of new things come out, and it's something that will benefit jiu-jitsu and MMA, in my opinion. I really believe that, and that's all what this is about. So for the most part, up until now, most of the Brazilian jiu-jitsu community and most of the Gracies, they basically ignored the developments and all the research and all the time I've put into pure no-gi. They really haven't looked into it at all. I think they're just this little thing in their peripheral that they're just ignoring, and they really haven't looked into it. You don't really see that many. You don't really see Gracies doing rubber guard. You just don't see it all the time. Hodge or Gracie mess with it a little bit, but overall it's so rare in the Gracie clan. Like, you don't see the stuff that we tweaked and we changed because of our pure no-gi training strategies and philosophies. So, but now it's the Gracies, man. The Gracies against me. And the Gracies, I assume they will be studying tape, studying the system. I assume they would be. I think they would be fools not to.
I wonder how many new members you got added onto MTS.
I don't know. I know. And you could study my entire system for $4.99 a month. Anybody has access. I should block the names Hoyce and Royler and Hicks.
So funny.
Like,
I wonder, I mean? I'm sure if you got your webmaster and they're like, dude, we've got fucking 42 other guys and they're all Gracies. Right from Torrance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's assume that if they're smart, I'm studying his game. So I think it's a smart thing for them to study. How weird would it be if they didn't? But they probably are. And if they are, Hickson is right there with them. That's one of the most surreal things about it is now the Gracies are forced. This match also is just for the sake of the rematch is awesome, and to help Metamoris and help with this a snowball effect that's going on with jiu-jitsu. Hopefully we put on a great match and it's a big success and all that. People want to see it, man, and I don't blame them. If Buster Douglas got a rematch, like I said this on the post-fight conference, I said if Buster Douglas got a rematch with Mike Tyson, everybody would watch that shit. They'd want to see Mike Tyson beat the fuck out of Buster Douglas. So whether you like me or hate me or think that I don't deserve this or whatever, for sure you're gonna want to see me get my ass kicked. So, I don't like that feeling. I don't like being a heel or anything like that. But
students of yours even posting shit like, I'll be buying that one for sure.
Yeah,
and I don't know what's in their heart when they're saying it, but I'm like, for
there's a lot of guys.
People want to see that, and it's two legends of the sport. I mean, to be honest, you
can't deny Royler Gracie. Come on, he's a legend, and I'm the stoner dude who beat him at brown belt. There's a lot of people that want to see me go down. So whatever, I am embracing this. I am having fun with this, and I am gonna just savor every moment of it because I'm loving this, man. I needed this right now. I really did. This is perfect timing. Halleck is awesome. People got confused a little bit because they think that he totally disrespected me by what he said when he brought us up to the stage.
Dude.
So he said, this is a guy that made his entire career by beating my uncle. And then people went, ooh. And I kind of reacted like WWF. Like, to me, it was just him hyping up the fight. Yeah. Like, here we go. What's the first thing you're going to say about this matchup coming up? He's the promoter. He's got to go in there. He's like a comedian. Sorry, I'm going to have to talk shit on your shirt. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. I'm going to have to do it to make the crowd laugh or whatever, yep. to get them excited about it.
But even like he like when that interview and he's going, you know, and of course, no disrespect, Royler is my uncle. Like, yeah. It's like he's both ways. I mean, he seemed like when I was like, he looks like a cool dude. Like he's cool. He's not showing any bias this way or that way. He's like, I want to do this thing for jiu-jitsu. It's going to propel the sport in a new way.
Yeah, he's doing Halleck and Rob's the owner. They're doing everything they can to make this super exciting and super entertaining. That they really are. I talked to Halleck on the phone. We discussed lots of shit. And he is doing everything he can to make the show exciting. Why wouldn't he want to do everything he can to make the show exciting? He really is. Halleck is busting his ass. When you have fucked up fights like that Brendan Schaub fight or them tug-of-war matches of death, that's not Metamoris' fault. It's you blame the competitors. Don't blame the show. It's ridiculous. Fuck Metamoris. I hate those guys. These matches were boring. Yeah, like they wanted it to be boring. They were trying everything they thought, you know, based on what they knew. They're trying to do everything to make it as exciting as possible. Believe me. So please don't be a fucking idiot and complain about Metamoris when it's the competitors.
It's like having a fight and like being appreciative for your opponent, or like having and then having a venue and going, God, I appreciate the space that these guys made happen so we could compete, or like this studio, like I appreciate that it's here that we can make our art in, or like whatever the deal is like, I think that's the biggest thing is like you're creating a space for an energy to happen that who knows what's going to happen. That's why it's exciting. Yeah. You know what I mean? To blame it like it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Fuck Metamoris. You guys must be 12 blaming the show for. But they didn't know that shit was going down.
And you're going in there to look at something instead of to learn.
And you're complaining about Metamoris trying to blow up jiu-jitsu. You shouldn't have any complaint ever. You know, the only thing that I didn't like when they went to judges for Metamoris 2. I didn't like that. And I told Halleck and I told him that. But I understood that in their minds, in Halleck's minds, he thought that would make the show better. So he's just trying to do what's better. Then he realized he wasn't married to the idea of judges. He realized after Metamoris 2, he's like, fuck that, we're going back to submission only. So see, there's an example of Halleck not getting married to some shit, making a decision,
just trying it out.
Yeah, he's just trying it out, and he's not opposed to changing his mind at all. He was gonna have the show in New York, Metamoris 3, and I'm like, man, New York? Why would you go? New York doesn't have a great grappling audience. Abu Dhabi 2009 was in New Jersey, and it was empty. It was empty in New Jersey.
Do it in Miami or L.A.?
No, and then I said, man, I got so many 10 Planet peeps in Southern California. You got to keep it in Southern California. And Halleck is the kind of guy that said, damn, you know what? I go, all the Gracies are in Southern California. Everybody, all you guys. Were you going to take that rematch away from our families? Let's all pack it up and make it big and epic. And Halleck, I know a lot of people who would stick to their guns and not want to change. Halleck goes, you're right. It's going to be in L.A. I'm going to change the date.
He's got such an open mind. Like, that's not a dude to me that comes off as going. Like, I remember when I first started training with you, and I was like, fuck, man, jiu-jitsu doesn't exist in this box. It's this limitless thing. You know what I mean? It was like you're the first one that really cracked it open and was like, I'm going to show you all my shit, and if you're not beating me, I'm not doing my job. Or if you're not learning all my stuff, like it was the first time when I really got to see like where everybody does better kind of thing. And it's like if one person's just smashing another person and that's all their shit all the time is just, I'm going to triangle you again and I never show you how I'm doing that or setting that up, then you never get better. But if you never get better, I never get better because all I have is this one tool then. And then I got to learn a new tool. And that's kind of the way the whole system has been set up and has grown and evolved. Like that's what I find so beautiful and invigorating about 10th Planet in that way. It is that open-mindedness to growth, and that Halleck's got that in his mind, the way he looks at stuff. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
It's like there is that.
So Metamorphs 3 back to submission only. That's huge.
Dope.
That's huge, man.
How many matches will be there total?
I don't know. Maybe 7, 8. I'm not sure. Halleck is doing his best to go after the biggest names. Yeah. You know.
Who would you like
expect Marcelo and Metamorphs soon. Probably not the next one, but Marcelo is definitely. Halleck is going for the best, and of course he's asking Marcelo. Of course he's trying to, suck Marcelo in, and Marcelo's down. From what I hear, not Metamorphs 3, but Metamorphs 4, we're going to see Marcelo, and that would be amazing. Like Marcelo against Kron, as the headliner, shit, that would be huge. Or Marcelo against Hoffa. Will Hoffa Mendes go up in weight and fuck with Marcelo? Ooh, that's a tough one. That's a different weight class. As good as Hoffa is, that's strong. A different. That's
those legs of
different.
Marcelo's.
Yeah, that's a different weight class. So,
who would you like to see in fight Cyborg?
Cyborg against Vinny Magalhaes would be awesome.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I would like to see Jean-Jacques versus Sakuraba. I think that would be awesome, right? I would like to see Josh Barnett versus Buchecha. Imagine that. Buchecha and Josh Barnett. That would be amazing, dude.
That would be huge.
Right?
What about Mark Lehman? Who would you like to see him against?
Ooh, I don't know what he's weighing right now.
He varies. He goes from a lightweight to super heavyweight.
I don't know if he'd do Metamorphs. I'm not sure. I mean, for the money he would, but I'm not too sure if he would. But it would be nice to see him in there. The guy's a jiu-jitsu encyclopedia.
And one of the guys, I don't know, like with you and Jake Shields, I think that altered American jiu-jitsu. That altered that altered the whole scene. It turned it on its head. I mean, I think that's still the resistance that you're feeling.
Well, in the beginning,
you are still the biggest spearhead for that.
When I decided that I wasn't teaching with the gi, to do my part, my little share, at least with my fighters, I'm doing at least with my little group, and hopefully it would spread. I just wanted the best possible MMA habits for my fighters. That was my little part.
What did Jean-Jacques ever say about it?
Jean-Jacques always totally awesome about it. Jean-Jacques never gave me any heat over anything. He'd let me roam. He'd let me do whatever I did. He never, ever. He guided me. He didn't block me from anything. He guided any door that I wanted to go through. He would say, "I'll help you through this door." Any help you need. You going through that one? You going through that one? He's right there to help me. Man, he's right
awesome.
now when I'm working with Jean-Jacques right now, just getting my defense on point, because Jean-Jacques is. No one gets near his neck, man. You just do not get near his neck. It just ain't happening, son. You just cannot get near his neck. The only shot you have with Jean-Jacques is going after his legs, and that's a battle. So his defense is amazing because, as a kid, he didn't have any fingers. He still doesn't have any fingers on his left hand. So at first it was a handicap. So all he did was play defense and turtle up. He would turtle up, and his defense became extraordinary. You couldn't tap him, and then his defense got so good that his offense got to flourish. And then his handicap had disappeared. Now no one ever. Jean-Jacques became a feared jiu-jitsu fighter. When you looked at him, you didn't look at the advantage you had because you had extra fingers. You looked at a legend. That hand didn't mean any kind of disadvantage. There was nothing like, oh, I should be able to beat him, dude. He has no hand. The only thing
you're thinking about that hand is that he could choke me with that. You know what I mean? It's just dangerous. He's a dangerous dude. Yeah,
so what I've always relied on my flexibility to escape bad positions, and now I'm still going to use my flexibility, but sometimes my flexibility gets shut down in these escapes, and I need to really go back to and focus on the best defenses that don't require flexibility. And that's what Jean-Jacques doing. He's just, oh man, it's awesome. So that the main thing I'm working on in this fight, the main thing is getting my cardio together. I want to be able to go 100% for 20 minutes. Getting my defense spectacular. That's what I want. Defense, cardio, maintain my strength, maybe take it up a bit.
How much do you think wrestling will come into it?
I don't really need to
Not
wrestle.
even gonna fuck with it.
No, I ain't gonna wrestle with nobody. You know.
And it's kind of there's no point. There's no points. There's
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not crucial that
point?
someone's on top.
Yeah.
I'll pull. He knows I'm gonna pull guard. I'm gonna pull guard right away.
Yeah.
If he's smart, he'll be trying to pass to my weak side, like the way Leo Vieira did. If he's smart, I mean that's
all the
pretty,
best guys are doing
that's
that
pretty.
now.
That's pretty obvious now. So I'm working on my weak side daily, every day. I'm working off my weak side. So
at our school, we're
I'm
just
going to fix
starting
that.
to do that too.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
fixing all that.
we're
Everything
doing.
I teach, half guard, quarter guard, it's all my other side, and I'm getting really, really good at that side. I'm really liking it. It's actually opening new doors, new paths to because when you're playing deep half on the weak side, that transitions to strong side twisters. So I'm going from deep half to twisters, like kind of like the way Ryan Hall did on Hermes Franca. I could only go into strong side twisters if I do weak side deep half, and I never did a weak side deep half before, but now I'm fucking hitting it. But if I did a strong side deep half, it wouldn't transition into my strong side twister, so I would just ignore it.
Right.
But now I'm not ignoring it. I like it. So I'm fixing my weak side half guard. My defense, I'm planning on being untappable. I know he likes foot locks. I know he likes the right foot. I'm working on my leg lock defense every day. My goal is to be untappable and have my cardio at optimal levels. Maintain my strength. I've never been this strong. I'm the strongest than I've ever been. Maintain it and maybe take it an extra level, and I'm fine. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to have fun. I'm going to attack them. I'm going to go after them, and hopefully I don't slip up and get caught in a bad spot. But, if I do get caught in bad spots, it could happen. Hopefully the defense that I've worked on will get me back in the game, and then I can attack them again. I'm going to just keep attacking them until I get them or I tire out.
Yeah. That relentless attack is like that. There's very few guys that I've ever wrestled with that have that kind of pressure, that it's continual pressure, that you're under pressure. There's a squeeze, there's a lockdown, there's
you got to be a human spring
all the time.
And it's all based on if you're on the bottom, you should always be a human spring coming forward. If there's no clinch going on, it's not because you're trying to not clinch, it's because he's trying not to clinch. He should be holding the door, trying to not let you come through, and you should just be coming through. Yeah. As soon as there's an opening, bam, you clinch. You're a human spring. That's my style. So if I'm not clinching you, it's because you're not letting me clinch you, and you got a good frame, and you're not letting me. Yeah. It isn't like I'm framing you. A lot of guys like to frame from the bottom. I'm not trying to frame. Let's go. Let's butt heads. Yeah. I don't want to frame. Because in MMA, that means Z-guard means you're going to get killed in MMA. So I always have that in my head. Like if I put a shield across someone's belly, if you get used to that, if that's your fighting stance when you're on your back, you're going to get fucked up. That's your stance. That's your go-to stance. That's in your DNA. You got to get that out of your DNA. Yeah, if you're concerned about getting
overhand hammer fist coming at you.
Yeah, you want your head in there.
Way. Yeah,
I
want my ear on your
not
belly
right
button.
here.
That's the craziest. The first half guard pass I ever started, or sweep, is like this koala pass that I do, and I still do, and it works fucking awesome. But it's like all four limbs on your leg, and my ear is at your fucking belly button, and you can't punch me. And anytime you move, I'm going to come up on top. But it's like it's all that climbing a rope. I'm climbing down the body, and if you're not continually hugging and squeezing,
smashing,
man, dude's gone. He's got choices. I don't want you to have any choices.
Yeah,
I want you to have a couple bad choices, and I want to be able to capitalize on them.
Yeah, I'm working my defense. Like last week, I did dead zone drills. We're gonna do them a lot. Where I'm working with my students in these dead zone drills. I'm putting myself in all the worst spots. Caught in a Kimura, caught in a guillotine, caught in spider web, caught on the back, caught in a triangle, caught in an arm triangle, caught in a darce, caught in all those, and we go live from there. It's first and goal for the offensive team. You're on the 1 yard line. Can you stop the touchdown? I'm going to do that all the goddamn time. Every week, at least 3 times a week, I'm just going to have people on my shit and just get out of everything. And the more, Jean-Jacques, my master, there's so many things he's told me over my jiu-jitsu career that I'll never forget. And one of them is, you have good defense. You're so confident. I'm like, yeah, man. I remembered that, but I never worked on my defense like I should, but I always remember that. And that was always something in the back. I got to get my defense together. I got to get my defense
And that's
together.
that fucking so smart, because the thing is most guys, like, if they have a natural defense or if they have a natural affinity for this or that or whatever, they go, I'm already good at that. I got check. I'm done. And it's like, I was talking to Little Peanut, Michelle Watterson, and she was talking about, like, her weight or her fitness kind of goes down after fight. Everybody eats and and whatever. But I was like, what if you just got stronger and you got a little heavier? And so instead of plummeting down, you fucking stayed kind of at fight peak, like physically. And then when you want to ramp up again, you were even better. And like that's what you're talking about, and that's where the champions live. I think is up there. It's like where they're ramped up, and then it's like, I'm going to coast here. This is going to be. It's like that whole thing of being comfortable where other men are uncomfortable. It's like, how do I get there?
Yeah. And my students, and I've always known this, and we've been doing dead zone drills for forever now, and those dead zone drills are designed for the offensive guy, the guy that has the good offensive position. Like if we did a rear naked choke dead zone drill, one guy would be on your back with an over-under with both leg hooks in. You got to be good at closing the deal. If we're doing a triangle dead zone drill, one dude's in a triangle, one dude's not in a triangle. One dude has to get out, one dude has to close it. And it's not a cinch triangle. Your ankles are crossed, and the guy in the guard has full posture. So you got an arm in and arm out. You got to go pull his head down. And you got half the battle.
Fucking hard, though. Hard to break the posture.
Yeah. You got to break that posture, break their head down. The professionals know how to do it. You got to get really, really good at that. If you're not really good at that, the guy's going to just shake that triangle off. So the design of that was mainly that my guys get really good at killing, closing the deal. We're really good at the end. You know what I mean? But the fringe benefit is guys get really good at defending it. So we've done this for so long that I got guys that are so hard to triangle, so hard to finish because of these drills. And the focus wasn't the defense. That's just something that just comes right out of it. But I'm doing that. I'm doing that shit till fight day.
It's a new focus for you.
Yeah, I enjoy it. There's so much, and all the new game that's out there too. I love when the new game comes out. Like the last couple of years, I've been doing De La Hiva and Spiral. Right. I teach it all the time. I don't really put it in my game as much. Every now and then, I'll hook something up.
You gotta know what's out there, though.
But yeah, I want my students to get really good at it, and I'm really proud of them when they do get good at like the new style that I'm not that good at. Because in that way, I know I'm doing my best to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to learn all the legit shit. I don't want to shut my students down from anything. I don't want my students saying, oh, man, dude, my instructor doesn't let us play that. I mean, I would feel like shit.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, but a lot of instructors are okay with their students saying, oh, man, he don't let me play rubber guard here, or he don't let me play lockdown. They're cool with that. They don't care that their students are saying that.
But that's the thing that comes out of ignorance, though. That's the thing that, like, if you're an instructor, you're like, no, we don't do rubber guard here. That's only what that instructor is saying to me is he's admitting his own ignorance. Like, I don't know that game, and I can't show it to you.
And here's a big flaw in my ego.
Right.
Let me ban it. You know, bam.
Yeah.
And these instructors don't realize that their students are...
They're studying it on their own.
Yeah, and
that's the thing that's
they're not respecting them like they should.
Yeah, that's why I like the white belts and the blue belts and shit when I go to these different places, and they're like, those are the guys that are on fire, and they're like, we've been working on this. How do you tighten this up? I mean, it's fucking cool, man. And that's regardless of who their instructors. They don't give a fuck. Yeah. They're like, I love jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu's free, and it opened my mind, and it gave me fucking a whole new reflection of how I am with my family and my friends and fucking how I feel about myself and about my relationship with food is different. Like, it changes fucking lives. And for a dude to go while your life is changing like that, and you're just like, holy fuck, I'm flooded with a whole new life. And for your teacher to be like, no, we're squashing this part, like, they're just like, I can't even hear what you're saying. You know what I mean? I mean, it takes hold, man. It's fire. That's the thing I always say about jiu-jitsu is like, it looks like strangling, it looks like joint locks, it looks like this, that, it looks like all that stuff. It's about transcendence. It's about empowering people in a way that you never thought you could give to people before. And you enliven a whole community of people. When you do that for one guy, his whole world changes, his family changes, and then their families change. Like, it's fucking crazy.
Jiu-jitsu changes lives. That's for damn sure. It's for someone to get into jiu-jitsu and it doesn't change their life, man, they got to have a lot of fucked up shit in their life distracting them, because you got to train. You got one life. Why don't you want to be in good shape, the best possible shape? Everybody does. If everyone can press a button that got them in great shape, everybody would press that button. Everybody wants to be in good shape. So you can press that button. It just takes about 6 months of hard work to fully depress, and then you're in good shape. Anybody can do it. You just got to, and I know it's hard to get in shape, and it's hard to lose weight, and it's so hard, and you're lazy. That's why jiu-jitsu is so important, because jiu-jitsu, you might not like weightlifting right now, and it might be boring to go to the gym or do CrossFit or whatever. It might be boring now, but if you got into jiu-jitsu, and that's so much fun, you'll have so much fun. It's a virtual reality video game. You're practicing killing each other, and there's no strikes. That's the cool thing. It's not like UFC cage fighting.
There's no damage.
It's like UFC cage fighting, but without the damage, without the punching. It's just all about strangling each other, and that doesn't hurt. Really, it's a bunch of pussies do jiu-jitsu. It's like it's the ultimate killing game, but only nerds can do it, because douchebags can't handle tapping. They can't handle losing a game of death. But again, you get hurt. I've been doing it 19 years. I've never needed surgery on anything. I've torn some meniscus, but didn't need surgery.
I came in with bad surgery, like with bad shoulders, and all that did for me. I never got my shoulder hurt in jiu-jitsu. All it did for me is made me really protect it and keep my elbows in. It's like it made me better at defense right off the start, because I'm like, I'm going to have to protect this shoulder. I don't want it to get out here.
Yeah.
And so and that was all. Yeah,
it's so much fun.
There's not any of that.
Not only is it the funnest way to stay in shape, it's so much fun, but if you don't have people in your life that you love, you need to find Jesus or something. For those of you out there that have people in your life that you would die for, like your mother, your father at least, or you have kids. If you have kids and you have a wife, you should be doing jiu-jitsu, because there may be a time where some shit comes down and you need to put someone to sleep really quick.
Yeah.
There might be a time. Even learning Muay Thai, just learning some kind of. We know from the UFC the best thing to learn for self-defense. The best things are jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling and ground and pound, if that's what you want to do. But that's, there's no wrestling schools out there,
I go around and I do these self-defense things. And if you're going to be a smaller person or a woman, and you're going to learn Muay Thai for self-defense,
yeah,
you're going to break your hand on my big fat head.
Yeah.
It's not happening. But a blood choke, you can put anybody to sleep, and then you're safe and you're free to get away.
Yeah,
that's the best shit. You can't argue with me. I'm an expert. That's the best shit.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that is like a game over, like your opponent's asleep, and you can walk away safely.
Yeah, I think this Ultimate Fighter with Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate, there's going to be a big explosion of women doing jiu-jitsu after this. There's got to be.
It's going to be huge.
There's going to be a big explosion. It's going to be trendy. There's going to be a lot of delusional girls. There's going to be some delusional ass girls thinking they could be the next Ronda Rousey. But then there's going to be a lot of legit girls, obviously. But
we don't have any shortage of
delusional fighters,
delusional dudes that are out there. Dude, I would beat that dude's ass. There's a lot of those guys out there.
Why doesn't he just hold him down and punch him? Why doesn't he just hold him down and punch him?
Those dudes come into my school and they throw an armbar or something because they've seen it on TV a lot.
Yeah,
it is hilarious. They come in feeling themselves too. I'm about to show you guys what's what.
Dude,
it's amazing.
Did I tell you about that time I was in Cedar Rapids, Michigan, and there was this amateur show? I think it was an amateur MMA show, but I was there teaching a seminar, and that night there was a show, and there was no commission, I don't think, because they asked me to ref a fight, and I had a couple drinks. You know what I mean? And I'm not a ref.
You're like, I had a couple drinks.
I had a couple drinks, and then they go, "You want to ref a fight?" And I said, "Hell yeah, I want to ref a fight." And then I go, "Which one do I go? You can ref any one of these fights." It was like early in the show, and I'm like, "Okay." So they made me ref a chick fight, right? And that chick fight was set up like 3 hours before. They had some local, like 43-year-old lifelong karate chick who's in good shape, like a older chick who's in good shape who did karate, who wanted to do MMA, and she maybe had a couple fights. So they found a 17-year-old girl who never trained a day in her life, who thought, I could fight, I want to fight. They go, anybody want to fight? And they got a 17-year-old girl. They put gloves on her in the bathroom. She's throwing punches, dude. It looked like...
just horrible.
Yes. And here I am reffing, and they come out. I thought it was hysterical. So I went up to the karate chick, and I told her, please...
Be cool.
Be cool with her. Take it easy. She's never trained a day in her life. Can you please not kill her? So she just jabbed her to death. She just stayed on the outside and just jabbed her. The girl's nose was bleeding. And then she lasted that first round. She barely lasted that first round. She's dead tired. Blood coming down her nose.
They don't understand even
she's
how they're
17.
Sucking breath. They don't have any idea about any of it.
She's like, I can't go.
Right.
I tried. I saw. She just quit in the corner. I can't go. I'm sorry. I tried. I can't. She was done.
So fucked for people. Dude, I was at a King of the Cage fight, one of my fights, and there was one of the guys dropped out from one of the lightweight fights, and it was a tough dude that he was supposed to fight. And so fucking Terry goes over next door to the bowling alley and just hey. And he starts sizing guys up, looking at like what weight they are about. Fucking grabs a kid from the bowling alley to come back and fight that night. And dude,
$50 or something.
Dude, who knows? Nothing. Like and then the kid got head kicked. He got brained, and I was just like, ugh.
That happened at Gladiator Challenge with Dwayne Ludwig. They got some guy, some Wing Chun guy, and Dwayne crucified him. The guy came in with some Wing Chun outfit on too.
No.
Yeah.
You got to learn a lesson, I guess. I mean,
the guy was tough.
No
He took a lot of damage, and he kept coming. His mouthpiece flying out the cage and everything. Dwayne was just having like a little sparring session with this nobody, and it was hysterical. That was the last show I worked for Gladiator Challenge. I got fired after that show. They fired me
Why did you get fired?
Because as the guy was getting his ass fucked up, he's a Wing Chun guy. I was saying he should immediately be going to Trapping Hands at this point.
Hey,
he's getting his ass kicked.
Who are you with?
A guy who was in jail for murder, Rafael Torre.
Okay, that was the dude that used to write for ADCC.
Yes.
That's the crazy story.
He was my commentating
partner. Back in the day, the internet was even shitty then. And there was this site, Abu Dhabi Combat Club.com.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And it was the only place really you could get like grappling news and shit like that. There was nothing else. That was it. That was the joint.
That was it.
And this guy, Rafael Torre, he did a thing, I remember, right, where he went and he's like, I went and I trained with Pederneiras, or I went and I trained with fucking...
No, he told...
And he'd go to all these different schools and he'd be like once a month, he'd be like, and he'd have a write-up about that guy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A
lesson in humility.
Yeah, something like that.
A lesson in humility.
And he was a black belt. He touted himself as a black belt that went around and he got worked by all these other dudes.
Well, what ended up happening with him is he was a karate guy growing up, and he was involved in anything that was popular at this time in Oregon. Like when the Ninja Turtles were big, his karate school had Ninja Turtle stuff.
Right.
When this got big, he was totally programmed to do whatever.
He was the original guy that put MMA on his window as soon as he saw an MMA fight or something, or as soon as that was on TV.
Exactly. He didn't hesitate to jump on
He's
shit.
like, we were doing Hapkido, now we do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, so whatever, he actually got invited to the first Abu Dhabi. He somehow, as a judo guy, he was claiming judo. He wasn't claiming jiu-jitsu. He got invited as a judo guy. He went. He actually competed in the gi, a big judo gi, and he went against a Hickson Gracie guy, Bo Hirschberger. Remember him? Mm-mm. He went against him and got lapel choke pretty quick. And from that point, while he was out in Abu Dhabi, he's a very, very. He was like addicted to speed and shit like that. He talked a lot, so he knew how to. He was smart. He had a very devious mind. He knew how to lie his way into anything. So he thought, like, fuck, I'm on Abu Dhabi Jiu-Jitsu's the new shit, huh? Yeah. His name was Ralph Bartel. That's his name. So he decided he was half Italian. So he decided to tell people. He goes back to Oregon and tells his wife, listen, I'm half Brazilian. I'm half Italian. My name is Rafael Torre. We're going to open up a jiu-jitsu school. He thought he could just get away with it. He thought it was easy because in karate you could just make shit up.
He had no idea what the truth is about jiu-jitsu, which is you can say whatever you want, but we can find out in about 2 minutes on the mat.
He got away with it for a while, so people started saying, so where'd you get your black belt? He said, my dad is Brazilian. My dad was friends with Helio. if you look at that picture with Helio fighting Santana, this is what he would say. And he goes, if you look at that, remember that famous picture with Helio or with Kimura? If you look at the ringside, it's Carlos Gracie, my father, Silvio Bearing. He's just making shit up. So you're going, oh, okay, that sounds pretty convincing. He's calling out a poster. He goes, next time you see that poster, the third guy, that's my dad. He's just making that shit up. But people go, oh, okay, you don't question that. He said he goes, dude, my dad was a judo guy, and he got his black belt from, I don't know what he would say, who he would say he got his black belt from, I forget. But he made it seem like, dude, I'm not that good. We do mostly judo, but, I'm Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. But, my dad gave it to me, but we're more judo-based.
Right.
So he was never trying to say that he was a hardcore badass because he knew he was going to have to roll with people. So he prepared people. Like, I'm old school, dude. This new stuff is amazing. I'm old school Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You know what I mean? I'm like old school Carlos Gracie style.
And this is early,
so people believed him.
Like late 90s.
People believed him. He started writing for the Abu Dhabi website. While he was out there, he bullshitted his way into writing some, and he was really good because he was all speeded out all the time. He was really good at writing articles, and so he always had content. So right away, this guy has a machine with the content. That's how he got in, and he was a writer, and he started doing all this writing. And then Pride hired him to do writing, and he was always writing, and Pride thought he was like, this guy's amazing. He just writes all the time. Dude, he was a machine when he would write, and he would start writing good shit about me. He would always try to blow me up somehow. I was commentating for King of the Cage, and he was somehow working in the commentary and his reviews to always try to blow me up. So I would see him at King of the Cages. He would write for King of the Cage too, and I was gonna be nice to him because he's putting me all in these websites. Why would I be a douche to him? Of course I would be nice to him. Why would I be a douche?
So
I really didn't know.
Commentator.
Yeah, I made him. He was so cool to me. I go, dude, you want to commentate this Gladiator Challenge? I was trying to pay him back, and he was working for all these different shows as a writer. Dude, he was just
all over. His name was everywhere.
He was outwriting everybody at a furious pace, and so, but there was always, people.
When did you every now and then,
every now and then, like Javi Vasquez would say, dude, do you think he's really a black belt? He says he is. So there was a lot of heat coming down on him. People were starting to question his black belt, right? So he had to take a fight. He claimed he was 14-0 in MMA. And he fought like a little unsanctioned show. So he was telling everybody he was 14-0 back then. This is 2000. In 2000, he told everybody he was 14-0. There wasn't like a fight. No one was keeping record. Right. So he had to take a fight. So he took a fight against a guy, a big Samoan dude, that it was his friend. And it was a total work. And he knee-barred him. It was a total work on King of the Cage. He paid him $1,000 to take a dive. And I'm commentating the fight. I'm going, Rafael Torre putting his 14-0 record on the line, tonight here against.
When was the first time you're like, this dude might be a little funny?
When I always thought there was something off with him. But he was just so super nice to me all the time.
And then he'd come and go, and he'd be out of your vision, and that's it.
Yeah, he was just so nice to me all the time.
I really writes a beautiful.
And then Javi Vasquez and a couple people down in the the old school millennia days, like Romy. They were like, "Dude, what's up with that?" And I go, "Really? You think he's a fake black man?" He goes, "Who? Ask him his dad's name." And I thought, man. Then I started thinking like, there's something up with this dude. There's something wrong. But. How could I investigate?
And then you fast forward,
and then he started. Him and his wife were they were swingers, and they started swinging. They started doing threesomes with this one chick. Her name was Angel, or Amy. Angel or Amy? I don't forget. Let's call it Angel. Him and his wife were having threesomes with this chick named Amy. She was married, right? And then they banged her a few times, and they became friends with her husband. They would all hang out. Husband had no idea that they were
banging.
Yeah, is that still on?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and he's telling me about this shit. He goes, dude, her husband has no idea, right? So when he would hang out with her husband. This is
in Oregon?
No, this was down here like 29 Palms in the desert. Right. They moved out by the desert. So when he would tell me, he's like, man, I'm hanging out with her husband and shit. They'd hang out together. They'd all go out, and then they would split off. And that dude had no idea that Rafael Torre, Ralph Bartel, was banging. There were threesome and his wife. So that dude ends up telling Rafael Torre some shit. Like, dude, like he's got like a stripper, like mistress, and he's like paying her rent and all that shit. So Rafael Bartel knew some shit on him now. He was falling in love with Angel. He wanted Angel to himself. He didn't even want his wife no more. He started cheating on his wife with the threesome chick.
Right.
And he was telling me all this. He's like, dude, fucking Angel. And he's like, I'm going to divorce my wife and just stick with Angel. But she's married. He goes, fuck, I don't give a shit. And then when he told his Angel that her husband had a stripper,
right,
she went ballistic, wanted him dead. So they tried to hire Gerald Streban.
right.
They tried to hire Gerald
That's Planet
Streban.
Black Belt.
Yeah, because that's how I knew Gerald.
U.S.
It's through Rafael.
U.S. Marine sniper.
Gerald is one of my black belts, my first MMA student, and that's how I met him, through Rafael Torre. Rafael Torre brought Gerald to me. He goes, here, there's this Marine guy. He's a blue belt, and he wants to fight. That's how I met Gerald. And then me and Gerald became tight, and we broke off. We just, once shit went down.
I knew that Gerald...
So they try to hire Gerald.
I knew that Gerald was like... he tried to get him on the payroll, but I didn't know that he brought him to you to begin with.
Yeah, they offered Gerald $10,000 to snipe his ass, use his Marine... techniques to snipe him. So Gerald went to the cops and said, fuck that. I'm going to say no, and now they got to kill me. So he's like, fuck. Well, as soon as you ask someone that, you got to do it or you're dead.
Yeah.
So he freaked out. He went to the cops. No. He didn't go to the cops initially. He didn't go to the cops. He didn't know what to do. He wasn't going to do it. He told Rafael, I'm not doing that shit. But now he's fucking thinking he's going to fucking kill me. But since that guy wasn't dead, he really didn't worry about shit too much. Like, they're just thinking about it. No crime was committed. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, that guy ends up dead.
And Gerald hears about it.
And then Gerald hears about it. Everyone hears about it. It's going around. They can't find a suspect. They found that dude dead in his truck in a parking lot in a mall. With his neck broken, and he had been choked, and then no one knew how they did it. And I was like, he was just found in a truck, this guy. And Rafael Torre was like, fuck, man, did you hear he died? Fuck, no one knows how he died. Oh shit. And the cops didn't know what to do. There was no witnesses, or there was no evidence or anything. Some people were thinking, I remember Terry Turbocock said, dude, it's looking like it's got to be Rafael Torre, bro. It's got to be that dude. And I was like, really, you think? And then, but they couldn't arrest him. They didn't have enough evidence. And then all of a sudden, Rafael Torre says, dude, he wasn't really a suspect. They really couldn't pin anything on him. He just said, I'm going to Thailand. I'm taking an MMA fight there. They're starting an MMA show in Thailand. This was like 2002 or something, 2001. And I go, well, that's kind of weird. He's going to Thailand. And he goes, can you pick me up from the airport? I'm getting dropped off at LAX. And I'm like, okay. And I pick him up from the airport. And he says, dude, I fucking won by a calf crank. I tried to twister him, but I calf cranked him. It was awesome. I bought you something from Thailand. And then I dropped him off, and I just thought the whole ride, it was just something weird. I'm like, wait a minute. You got someone in a fucking calf crank in Thailand? Because, yeah, it was awesome. I went for a twister, but I couldn't fucking... He escaped, so I just went for the leg, and I'm like, where is this on the internet? I'm thinking, where is this on the internet? How come... Oh, no, it's a small show. It's not going to be on the internet. I go, wait, is there video of this? And right there, I thought, man, there's some shit. There's some weird shit. Now, all of a sudden, he's just full of shit. And... me and Joe, I told Joe about it, and Joe was in the car, and I said, you know what? I'm going to call this dude out right now. I got him on the phone, put him on speakerphone in my car, and I said, dude, I'm going to ask you once, and I want you to just try to be honest with me. I understand why you lied. If you admit that you lied, I'll understand that you had no idea how deep jiu-jitsu is and how hard it is to lie in jiu-jitsu. I'll understand. You came from a karate background where you can lie all you want about who your master is, and no one's going to check shit. No one cares.
None of it matters.
Moms come in with their kids.
Yeah.
No one cares. You could lie.
Shotokan, Shuraikyu.
Who's going to check?
Yeah, anyway.
No one's going to check nothing. No one cares. But in jiu-jitsu, they do care.
We care.
Eventually you get smelled out and tell me you fucked up and you didn't realize. He goes, what are you talking about, bro? I go, you are not a black belt, dude. Your dad is not a... and then Gerald told me. Gerald told me, like... Gerald called me up and said, listen, I'm going to tell you about Rafael Torre. That's not his name. His real name is Ralph Bartel. He's a big bullshitter. Like Gerald was telling me. And then I called him out on it. And he just denied it. He goes, I go, is your dad Brazilian? He goes, yeah, bro. I go, you're telling me right now your dad is Brazilian? Yeah, bro. Yeah. You're going to just keep saying that he is. You're just going to keep going on with this? Your dad's Brazilian. Say it again. Yeah, dude, he's Brazilian. I'm like, damn. Okay. Damn, dude. And so I cut him off right there. And then next thing you hear, Gerald went to the cops and, told them what happened. And it turns out the way the story goes down is it didn't look like it. Who knows how it happened, but Rafael Torre was at his school. The dude found out that he had been fucking his wife. He shows up with a gun or something. Oh, you know what? That's right. Rafael Torre told Gerald everything. He told Gerald what happened.
What the fuck?
And then Gerald went to the cops. He told him exactly what happened because he thought he could trust Gerald for some reason. He goes, you got to bury this gun for me. You got to take the gun. For some reason, Rafael Torre needed the gun buried in a certain spot where if he needed, he could always come back and prove that the guy was trying to kill him or something like that. There was something about this gun. We need to hide it. If shit goes down, you need to do me a favor and go bring it, use it as evidence because that's the gun that da-da-da. Apparently the guy came with a gun to the karate school that he actually invested in. He gave him money to open up a new jiu-jitsu school.
Get off the hook.
The new jiu-jitsu school. And he said he came with a gun and that he wrestled the gun away from him, put him in a rear naked choke and killed him. Put him in the truck and drove him down to like a mall parking lot, just left him there.
He just pulled in Gerald to it because he already told Gerald, I want him dead. Yeah. And then he had to cover it up. He's like, gee, Gerald knows. How can I make him on my side with it or something like that?
And Gerald said, fuck that, I'm going to the cops.
That guy never had a gun.
I don't know. I think he had I think he had a gun, had something to do. He had some kind of plan with this gun. I don't remember exactly what the plan was. But he told Gerald, I killed the motherfucker. I choked him out. And I need your help.
To death.
Yeah.
How hard is that to do?
So Gerald rolled on him.
When does that happen?
He tried to escape from prison too, man.
Really?
They found in his cell like a bunch of sheets tied together. He was ready to escape.
Jiu-jitsu is crazy, man.
It's crazy because that guy was never, ever, ever a douche.
Imagine without the internet, that dude would never he'd never be found out. Maybe he'd never find jiu-jitsu in the first place, but the internet's crazy. Like as far as clarity goes with the society, like you can fact check anything right now. You know what I mean? It's like everything's right there. It's like there's a transparency that happens with that. That's kind of a real freedom.
Yeah, it's just the more technology advances, the harder it is to lie.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're controlling shit, robotic arms with your brain wirelessly, I mean, I don't think fingerprinting our thoughts are too far in the future. Like having a thought and go, that is your thought. That's what your thought looks like.
Yeah.
Every time you think that thought, look, it looks exactly the same. You think this thought, then it's that image.
There's just pages.
And then you could take those images and reproduce them and then bring them back.
That's what they say is like the Minority Report, like getting charged for in 48 minutes you commit a murder.
Yeah.
Like getting charged and going to prison for things that you haven't done yet.
Yeah.
Like that shit's on the way.
Dude. Hey, dude, I got to get the fuck out of here, man. It's late. How long did we go for?
A long time.
Did we go 2 hours?
No, it's probably an hour and 40 minutes.
Beautiful, beautiful, man.
Again, everybody, I want to thank you. I want to thank Virus International, and I want to thank my teacher, my friend, my master, Eddie Bravo.
Thank you for having me.
For being here. And
my podcast is Eddie Bravo Radio. I do it every Sunday night live, 10 p.m. Pacific time.
Consistently like a boss.
Yeah. Tomorrow we got a UFO guy that is going to be very interesting, man. I think this guy is one of those guys that has info on the Galactic Federation. So we're going to learn about the Galactic Federation tomorrow. He was in the movie Sirius with that Stephen Greer guy.
Right.
He was in that movie.
You guys went to that, right?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was awesome, man. It was awesome. I mean, they're saying that that it's a human, but if you watch the documentary, the team that decided that it had some human DNA, he also said, yeah, it's human, but there's a lot of other things I want to say too, but I don't want to be made fun of, basically. Crazy. He said this, and he goes, all we know is that, yeah.
Did you see that thing somebody put us all on Twitter together about the Canadian that's saying, no, we know that UFOs exist and we have documentation of them and all that shit. Did you see that shit?
Yeah, it's all over the
That's
internet.
fucking craziness too. I mean, it's everywhere. Like that kind of transparency that's happening everywhere at all levels.
It seems like there is a disclosure going on. It really seems like there is, man. It really seems like it's going down. Like the UFO sightings now, the way they're so frequent, and they're just.
I hope they come soon. I really do.
Yeah, let's get into the next era.
The thing is,
let's find out that we're part of this federation.
I was driving by the the Los Angeles River today, and I'm like, my mom's in town right now, and I go, yeah, there's an LA River, Mom. I'm like, can't you just imagine like a guy and his kid going, oh, look at the fish, and it's fucking cement with fucking some water trickling down the middle of it, you know? But it's like the tidal wave of pollution and what we do to the planet is so far. There's no clean air, water, fish, organisms anywhere anymore. Like in 20 years, that shit that you're going to be standing by the edge of the river with your kid, and he's going to be, Dad, what was it like when you could get into the water? Like it's going to be like that. Yeah. Like we need aliens. We need that. We need some help, dude. We need help. All right.
Yeah, we definitely need help, man. We need some of that free energy that Tesla figured out. That's what we need.
All right, man. Well, thanks very much, and we'll talk soon, yo.
Thank you very much, man.